Hello and welcome everybody to another StarCraft 2 cast by Glitch. This is going to be game 2 of a best of 5 between sixjaxDDE and WhiteRa. Spawning here in the bottom left corner as the Red Terran who has somehow managed to get his screen name back after game 1 is sixjaxDDE. Spawning here in the top right corner as the yellow Protoss, we have the one, the only WhiteRa. In game 1, we saw a nice little macro game from both of these players, but WhiteRa was able to do some damage with some of those special tactics that he is oh so well known for, and did some good War Prism drops with Zealots, able to do some economic damage and take DDE down. Despite a decent comeback in the mid game, DDE was just not able to hold off the big final push by WhiteRa, and WhiteRa took game 1. So now moving here into game 2, will DDE be able to take a game off of WhiteRa, or will WhiteRa continue to dominate this matchup? That is left to be seen. Oh my god, I cannot talk and I just choked on my own saliva. If I had a nickel for every time. DDE now throwing down a barracks, just now throwing down a refinery as well. Looks like he's not going to be going for that one barracks fast expand that we saw from him in game 1. Of course, that being not quite as safe on Xel'Naga Caverns as it is on Crevasse. Crevasse, a much safer base in which to expand, since you have a nice, well-protected expansion. Looks like WhiteRa, thinking along similar lines, has also started mining gas of his own. Just now has that gateway coming up. Cybernetics core just now being thrown down. Most likely going to be seeing some warp gate research coming out of there pretty soon. sixjaxDDE now moving into the base of WhiteRa, seeing that chrono boost going down on that nexus. That is instantly going to tell him that there is not going to be any kind of 4-gate pressure on the way from WhiteRa, just because, well, if he's chrono boosting probes, he can't be chrono boosting that warp gate research, meaning he can't really get a fast 4-gate going. So DDE not too worried about 4 gates right now, also scouting that second gas guys are going down, also not the most common of moves if you're going to be going for that 4-gate. In the base of DDE, however, now we do have a quick tech lab that has gone down on that barracks. I'm actually curious to know if WhiteRa scouted it. No, WhiteRa actually did not scout that barracks had a tech lab going on. A lot of times when you see a barracks going down with a quick tech lab, you can guess that a Reaper is going to be on the way, but it looks like in this case we're actually going to have a factory being built directly onto that tech lab here for DDE. In the meantime, he's going to be building that command center. A little bit delayed over last game's command center, but he's going to be getting a pretty fast command center. Nonetheless, in the meantime, WhiteRa looks like he is not quite looking to expand yet. He does have a couple of gateways up right now, and we do have a third gateway now, or a robotics facility rather, coming down now, and it looks like now WhiteRa has decided to start to expand now that he does have the necessary tech up that he needs. And what is this but a fast Twilight Council? And oh my goodness, look at what is hiding in the corner, you guys. There is a Dark Shrine going up here for WhiteRa, so we are going to be seeing some more special tactics here from WhiteRa with them Dark Templar. In the meantime, DDE is going to be scouting around this back door, trying to see if that expansion has gone down. Did not see the probe that dropped that pylon there in that back. WhiteRa going to be able to warp in some Dark Templar and some units there in the forward position there once this Dark Shrine is up. Could potentially deal a lot of damage there if DDE is not careful about how he manages his orbital command energy. At this point, I don't think he's going to be expecting that from WhiteRa. He does not yet know that Dark Templar is coming up, but that SCV is now coming into the base of WhiteRa rather, and will he see that Dark Shrine? And yes! DDE actually does manage to see that the Dark Shrine has gone down here, and let's see how he's going to be reacting. Will he be throwing down an engineering bay to start to get up one of those turrets? Yes, we do actually see missile turrets coming up there. There's that engineering bay. The engineering bay is already down, and we do have that missile turret now coming down for DDE. So nice scout timing there by DDE, able to know exactly when that Dark Templar is coming. Such good timing there by DDE. Knows exactly what's going on, and now knows that there's a Dark Templar outside of his base as well, so I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw down some more missile turrets out here to try to prevent that DD from doing too much more damage, but DD's actually getting a few free kills there. DD does finally manage to get picked up there. Not exactly worth it for WhiteRa, as these Dark Templar can be very, very expensive, but what do we have? This is like super special tactics. This is like special tactics, special tactics. I don't know. This is something crazy. He's got Dark Templar loaded up into the Warp Prism, and he just now dropped it in the main. He has bypassed the missile turret at the front, and he now has one out here to distract the forces, while the other goes in and starts to deal a lot of damage to these SCVs. And does WhiteRa not have any more scans available? No, WhiteRa has no scans available on either Nexus, and he does not have the energy to scan for quite a little while. We have 3 more energy, 2 more energy, and here comes the scan, and oh, we actually had a missile turret there come up that was within range that he could actually see. Is that... yeah, the missile turret right there. I couldn't see it. It almost looked camouflaged there. But it looks like that Warp Prism is now going to be taken out. WhiteRa attempting to warp in a few units there at the last second. Wasn't able to quite get him in there, but he is in a decent spot in terms of economic status. He's currently at 34 Harvesters to the 31 of DDE, so he is doing fairly well, starting to throw up some more Warp Gates. So we now have a total of 4 Warp Gates up here for WhiteRa. Zealot legs just getting started now. That is going to be the speed upgrade for Zealots, which is going to allow them to charge up to his opponents, especially if he's going for those siege tanks in that bio. You definitely want to close that gap as fast as possible. WhiteRa continuing the special tactics as best he can, dealing some damage at the natural while sending another one into the main expansion of DDE, getting a whole bunch of probe kills here, or SCV kills rather, currently up to 15 worker kills. That is a ton of worker kills there for WhiteRa, and holy cow, continuing to deal more damage. This is a lot of damage actually being dealt to DDE. DDE now feeling like he really needs to push. He knows that a lot of gas has been spent on those Dark Templar and all that economic damage, so he's going to know that he needs to go and return that favor right away, so he is now going to be pushing out with 3 siege tanks and actually kind of small Marine Marauder force. It is not really a big force, but he's not expecting WhiteRa to really have too much just because he's wasted so much gas on those Dark Templar. Well, I shouldn't say wasted. I shouldn't use the word wasted. It was actually pretty good use. And 1 Dark Templar managed to get by him. DDE actually doing a good job of escaping up a lot of scans. WhiteRa keeps going in there, hoping that DDE is not going to have any more scans available, but no, DDE saving up a lot of energy for those scans. Loving that. We do have some more special tactics coming in here for WhiteRa, as he did drop a bunch of Zealots there right up close to those siege tanks and Marauder forces, so it looks like he's going to be able to clean up this attack. Love that move from WhiteRa. That is something I think that we're going to start to see much, much more commonly in Protoss versus Terran matchups. Using those Warp Prisms to drop Zealots right up close to the army, so you don't even necessarily need charge on your Zealots. You can just drop your units directly on their army to instantly start taking damage, especially if they're siege tanks, because siege tanks, of course, cannot fire at anything that is too close to them, that is directly within melee range, that is. So they do quite well, those Warp Prism drops. Now in the base of DDE, looks like after his attack has been thwarted, he is now going to be switching to a little bit of mech style, as we do now have this reactor factory now producing double Hellions. Do we have that Blue Flame upgrade? Blue Flame Hellion upgrade just now getting started, and we have a starport now, which just produced a Banshee, which is now going to be moving across the map here, and will WhiteRa see it with that? No, he's not quite able to see, maybe. I don't know. That was tough. I think the Banshee showed up there for just like a fraction of a second there on the vision of WhiteRa, but it looks like DDE is going to be coming back for that pylon, taking out that pylon, which is going to immediately alert WhiteRa to the fact that there is a Banshee now out on the field. It does not yet have Cloak, and a 3rd factory now coming up for DDE, getting a reactor on it, so he's going to be going some pretty heavy Hellions here. But we do have a drop coming in here from WhiteRa. Looks like he's going to be dropping off those 4 Zealots in the base, as well as 1 Dark Templar. 3 Zealots and 1 Dark Templar it actually was, and it looks like he's going to be doing some massive damage here. This Raven is in here to scout. That Dark Templar is going to be able to be scouted no matter where it is. And that does get picked up there, but we have more Zealots being warped in down here from WhiteRa. A lot of damage here being dealt to those SCVs. Turrets going down, but oh man, so many losses right now from DDE. 35 workers killed so far. If we check out the workers, the Harvester count right now, we can see that he's currently way up, 51 to 30 Harvesters. Excellent economic damage here going down by WhiteRa. And it looks like he's continuing to warp in more units in DDE's base. He's basically keeping DDE out of his own main base. This is quite a good job here by WhiteRa. He's managing to get way ahead in the food count right now, 93 to 59 of DDE, and still continuing to deal a lot more damage. The siege tank is not quite going to go down yet. And it looks like, yeah, there we go, that Siege Tank is going to get focused. SCVs being pulled into line. Dark Templars now being warped in to deal a lot of damage to all those forces. And DDE forced to GG out of Game 2. That means WhiteRa is 2-0 in the series. Will WhiteRa take this best of 5 by winning Game 3? Don't go anywhere. We will find out.